We're starting a little bit late tonight, but welcome to the Harpswell Select Board meeting of January 11th, 2024. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adoption of the agenda.
Jane's got something to add.
I'd like to add a recommendation from the short-term rental task force.
Yep. 11.5.
Sure.
Towards the end. Cook's Lobster House is not coming tonight. Take that off. Anything else? Public comment? Nope. Select board announcements?
Nope.
For all you wharf people out there who had damage, the code office is gearing up and getting ready for a possible onslaught. So keep in touch. Town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. I do want to say that there were devastating impacts in Harpswell as a result of the recent storm, and our emergency management agent, Mike Drake, is here tonight to give you some insight into what he's seen as he has been touring around Harpswell. We did put information on our website today about a couple of links that we think would be important to the public. One link is for commercial entities, commercial fishermen. The Maine Emergency Management Agency put this out, and the Department of Marine Resources has been helping get the word out. So again, the working waterfront infrastructure in Harpswell and along the coast of Maine has really been devastated, and so they need to collect information to try to establish a magnitude to see if there will be some financial resources available.
Good idea.
So there's that piece on the commercial side. Then we also have a second link for people whose primary residence may have been damaged as a result of the storm on the 10th. So that's a separate link, and it's on our website. If anyone's having some difficulty, they can certainly contact the town office, and we'll make sure we assist with that, getting them in touch with the right entity to get their information in. Now, we as a community, as a town, we are assessing our public infrastructure and what has been damaged with respect to that. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Mike Drake to come up during the town administrator's time and to report to you on what he has seen.
Sure.
Slide the mic over a little closer to yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off saying it's very sad to see the damage to the town of Harpswell, to the commercial fishermen, the primary homes, secondary homes. A lot of places have just been devastated by the storm. The only positive thing I have to report is I haven't got any reports of any injuries. So we made it through this without any injuries. So that's the best part of the whole thing. One thing I'd like to warn people is to use caution if their building has been damaged or their wharf has been damaged. Please be careful inside your building and on your wharf and such. If it's unstable, it's not worth your life to go out and get some fish crates or whatever off the wharf. Leave it till it can get assessed and hopefully get it fixed. Another thing I'd like to cover is going around town the last couple of days, I have seen a significant amount of roofs with damages. So I would ask, every resident in town, please go out and check your roof, see if the shingle's off. It may look minor, but if there's a little hole there with the upcoming rainstorms, it could end up being a major problem inside your house. I would like to give a shout out to the 3 volunteer departments. They did a great job. Excuse me. They did a great job. Their responders were resilient. They kept going through the whole storm. So the Cundy's Harbor, Oars and Bailey Fire Department, the Harpswell Neck Fire Department, and the volunteers did an excellent job through the storm. So the damage assessment I've got so far, I haven't made it over to Cundy's Harbor. I should be over there tomorrow. So on the Bailey Island area, major damage to some of the houses on the east-facing side, down off like Washington Avenue, down on that east side of Bailey Island. So there's quite a bit down there. Harpswell Neck, the Potts Point Causeway is pretty damaged, but both lanes are open and safe to travel. One thing I would recommend with residents that live on the Potts Point Peninsula, you are going to be an island around noontime on Saturday, so prepare for that. It's expected to flood that causeway again on Saturday, so please be prepared. Just the damage to a bunch of buildings. The commercial fishing, like Christie said, has just been devastated. You know, I talked to people that have lost their wharfs, lost their boats. It was just devastating to commercial fishermen in town. So the resources that everyone has, like Christie talked about, go on the town website, look for the links to report your damages. Unfortunately, in talking to the emergency management, the county emergency management today, the best way for you to get a response is to fill out that paperwork on the links. If you call in and report, you know, if you have something hazardous, we'll get out and take a look at it. But if you're reporting damages, please go online and report that. It's extremely important. The quicker you can get that done, the more likely we are to get some kind of declaration so that we can get some reimbursement for the residents. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. Terry's been doing a great job updating that, so that's got some tidbits of information on it. To document your damage, you know, call your insurance company, see if you're covered, immediately notify them what happened. The biggest thing that's coming from emergency management right now is take pictures of everything you have. Take pictures of, you know, damage to homes, any picture you can get, pictures to damaged wharfs for the fishermen. The biggest thing with them is try to get underneath also. I talked to a couple of fishermen today that, you know, I've got pictures, I'm all set, and I said, well, you know, at low tide, if you get anything down below, and, oh, you know, we never thought of that. So make sure you get a bunch of pictures. For the fishing community, DMR has got some really good links on their site. They've got some helpful information. So try to look at the DMR site and get updated with that. One question I did have from the public for the select board is, I wasn't aware, but they said that the last time you had a big storm like this, there was some brush fees waived at the recycling center for residents.
We haven't got around to that yet.
Okay. Well, I promised I'd bring it up.
No, I was looking at Lowell's Cove today and Mackerel Cove, and it's a mess, and,
Yeah,
you know, and you don't know whose wharf's who, you know?
Yeah.
It's all intermingled, so as far as,
yeah, Mackerel
Individuals.
Cove is a real mess too.
It is.
Yeah.
yep.
So the only other thing, I've got Saturday storm that's coming up. The latest predictions are wind and rain. Rain's gonna be up to 2 inches. Wind Friday night, you're gonna have easterly winds, 20 to 25, gusting up to 35. That's gonna switch around southerly Saturday morning. You're gonna be 25 to 30 and up to 45. So hopefully our max is 45 and we don't get as big as this last storm. Please prepare for the high tide Saturday at 12:05 in the afternoon. It's gonna be an 11:2. If the winds keep going, it could create some significant splash over, not as bad as what we've had. What the Weather Service is thinking now is that the wind will calm down just in time to lessen the storm surge with the high tide. So hopefully that happens. But that's all I have. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I think you've done a nice job getting out there and assessing the damage and keeping us all informed, so much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks. So the next item is to act on a recommendation that comes from Mike Drake, who is also our fire administrator. And he, Terry, and myself have interviewed multiple candidates for an open per diem firefighter position. And we all unanimously recommend Nick Manukos. Manusos, sorry. Nick is a current volunteer for the Orrs Bailey Island Fire Department. He's also recently been hired by the town of Brunswick as a full-time firefighter for that entity. So we're very pleased that he's interested in working for us, and we think it'll be a wonderful fit. I don't know, Mike, if you wanted to say anything further, have anything else to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
We can have Nick say a couple words.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, just introduce yourself,
And
so.
Nick, feel free to introduce yourself.
I'm Nick Manusos, live on Bailey Island. Been volunteering here in Harpswell for 2.5 years. I do currently work in Brunswick full time. You know, I'm incredibly honored and humbled by the decision that was made for the position of firefighter in this town. I'm greatly looking forward to serving this community and helping maintain and protect it. And all I have to say is that I'm just very thankful for, you know, for being decided upon or recommended by Drake and the committee. And I'm really looking forward to starting as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to hear.
Well, I move we hire Nick Manusos. I did all right? As a per diem firefighter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mike says yes.
The next item I wanted to bring to the board's attention is this idea of having a special town meeting for the voters in Harpswell to consider a new comprehensive plan. It doesn't look as though that's going to be ready for our March town meeting. We also will need to update our floodplain ordinance and adopt some new flood insurance rate maps for the town of Harpswell. So we are looking at a couple of different scenarios that we want to present to the board. You don't need to make a decision tonight. I think you need to be thinking about it. You have a little more time. One scenario is to have an in-person floor meeting in May, and we've suggested that could be May 11th, and we've kind of worked through that schedule so you can see the various highlights of when there would be a draft of the comp plan, for instance, available to the public, when we would have a public hearing. You can think about the benefits and maybe the drawbacks to having a second town meeting on the floor. I did hear that the Comprehensive Plan Committee last night unanimously recommended an in-person meeting.
Oh.
I think they believe that the discussion of the items on the floor is very beneficial to informing the voters.
Well, there'd be a public hearing anyway.
There
even if
would
it-
be. I think what we have seen previously is the public hearings are not always that well attended.
Yeah,
So, again, you don't have to make a decision tonight. You can take a lot of things into consideration.
this has to be done by the 20th, June 20th.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the floodplain ordinance, yes. And then the other option would be you could hold a secret ballot vote. So we were thinking if you decided to go in that direction, there would be the June school budget vote. There's the presidential state primaries going on. I mean, I think the voter turnout number would be considerably higher than perhaps. And then there's kind of a series of major checkpoints that we would follow to make that happen. And yes, you would have, you know, a public hearing for the comp plan. You might have a second public hearing. You might, and then you have to have a required one for any secret ballot item. So that could be an additional public hearing. Something to think about if you're interested in having that more dynamic on the floor discussion and vote, or, you know, if you think secret ballot might be the way to go with that June 11th date. So we think you should just take a little time and think about it, but know that the comp plan task force thinks that in-person would be preferable. And I would say that if we could have met the deadline, the plan was to bring it to the March town meeting, which would have
Right.
been an in-person town meeting.
Right.
So if you do decide to go with that option, we will do a lot of, you know, getting the word out. That there will be the second meeting, and we would have something at the March 9th town meeting to kind of
So,
outline this.
Are you looking for our decision on this by our next meeting, maybe?
Maybe
couple
the
weeks?
next meeting, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
I think you have a little bit of time, but we wanted to put that in front of you for you to
Well, yeah, if we
consider.
could start moving on it.
And then the other piece, we're working with the Code Enforcement Office and the Planning Office to roll out the floodplain ordinance changes, so that's coming up, and we're gonna be having like a monitor in the town office where people can come in and be shown
Oh.
the existing floodplain, the proposed floodplain,
Yeah.
how the impacts will change
Good idea.
to their individual properties. So we have a little more work to do before we roll that out, but we're getting close to that.
And will the floodplain be coming to the March town meeting?
No.
No.
No, we need more time to
No, that's why,
educate
So
the
it would
public.
be, it could either be May or June
We would
along with
recommend
this.
that
Okay.
you might consider doing it at the same time as the comp plan.
Okay.
We think that makes a lot of
it
sense.
just has to be done by June, no. not-
Understood,
Yeah.
20th,
June
yeah,
20th.
understood,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's more something to be thinking about. The town clerk would like everyone to be reminded that dog licenses are due by the end of January, and if you don't get that done by January 31st, there's a $25 late fee per dog. So that is a state-imposed late fee. And you can do that online, too, if you would like, so. Thank you very much. Anything else? Oh, they can't do that online?
Not after 12:31.
Oh, sorry, okay, come in person.
Come to the town clerk's office.
Great,
All right.
thank you.
Consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda, which this week is the approval of the minutes and the authorization of the warrants, fairly simple.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Cumberland County Development Block Grant Application for Cundy's Harbor Volunteer Fire Department and letter of support from Select Board.
So this has been on previous agendas. The board was aware that, or had approved actually submitting the pre-application, and the county has determined that it was a qualifying project. And so the department volunteers have completed the questions. It's still being edited, but it's not due until the 18th, but this is your last meeting before the deadline. And if you have any specific questions, I can let the department know as they continue to work on that. But otherwise, the county is helping us determine our low to moderate income figures. The town will manage the grant, obviously in conjunction with the fire department.
Okay.
And
So
the
what-
request is for, of the CDBG grant funds, the request is for $26,275. For those that's not aware, it's to replace radios with digital and analog capabilities as the county's rolling out converting to digital. They will still continue to communicate analog and digital, but since Cundy's Harbor is in a low to moderate income district, it's beneficial to get Cundy's Harbor to apply for this grant.
Right.
So the one question I had was on the management of it, and so, so the town and the fire department would do it in, what would the wording be like on that?
Prior to submission, we'll send the full board the complete application
Okay.
for your final review, but it's just, every application has always been the town.
Yes.
The town is the recipient, so we definitely do manage that, but obviously I work with the subrecipient, but we go through the proper procedures. This one will be a little different. It's our first time ever applying for public service funds. We've always applied under the general application. The other thing that makes this a little different is every time you receive CDBG funds, you have to put the project out to bid. The county has already done so. And so, Cumberland County, if awarded, would be paying us, then we would turn around and pay
Pay Cumberland
Cumberland County back. But Cumberland County, I've been informed by the president of Cundy's Harbor Volunteer Fire Department that no one can touch their bulk rate pricing, obviously with all the radios that need to be purchased within Cumberland County. So I think the county grant program would certainly accept that, and so.
So tonight, you're looking for us to approve this with sort of hoping that,
I mean, I think the concept has been laid out.
yeah.
We just have
I mean, I'm
some
good with all of the,
details to-
the numbers that aren't plugged in yet, that's fine. But the question I had was.
Which numbers aren't plugged in?
Well, the to-be-discussed numbers. But, I'm good with those. So my question was, who would manage it, and you've answered that, and so, I'm willing to move that we approve the,
Yeah, it's like all of them.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
I-
And you were provided a letter of support that we
Right.
would ask the chairman to
Yep.
sign. I dated that tomorrow, but.
Gotta read
but
it.
Each select board member will receive a copy of the completed application.
Yeah, why, I move the letter of support as well and have Kevin sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
All right, lease extension with Running Tide.
Yes, so as of December 31st, the town and Running Tide had a lease agreement that came to an end. However, both parties would like to extend that for another 30-day period, or 1 month, so it'd be through January 31st of 2024. I think it's fair to say that the town is looking at bringing in a new tenant. We haven't reached a final agreement. We're hopeful that in 2 weeks, that would be on the select board's agenda for your consideration. But in the meantime, this just takes care of the fact that Running Tide is still there as we try to bring this other lease agreement to the public.
Well, I move that we extend this till the end of January, retroactive to January 1st.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Moving on. Use of capital reserve for survey of Peabody Road.
Yes, the next road that we plan to begin a capital road project on is Peabody Road. And if you've been following our capital road plan, that one has been on the list for a while. We had to get Basin Point completed, and now we're turning our attention to Peabody. I think the first action that we'd like to take is to use some of the Capital Road Reserve Fund to have a survey, and the road commissioner supports doing that. We have had an on-site meeting with the town's engineers, and they're putting together a proposal where we might try to do a project over a 2-year period. We still haven't, obviously we haven't made any, the board hasn't made any final decisions, but having a survey will help us ensure that we're staying within the public's right-of-way there on Peabody Road.
Yeah, we've sort of done a temporary patch with reclaim on one end of it.
Oh, we've done some patching on that road for sure.
Yeah, that road's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
I move that we engage Midcoast Survey for estimated cost of $4,200 to survey the Peabody Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
No discussion. All right. 2023 carryover list.
So this is an annual event.
It is.
Voters authorize the select board to carry over funds from one year to the next if it's for the same purpose that it was voted on initially for. And so preliminary financial statements have been prepared, and this is the proposed carryover list with one change from what was linked to our agenda and what was provided in your book. Bill was just received yesterday regarding the Mitchell Field Administrative Building Study. So we're not recommending that you carry over the $10,000 since a bill for $3,910 was paid. So recommending carrying over $6,090. That changes your new total to $2,161,996.
What was it again?
$2,161,996.
$2,000,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you have any questions about any particular? We kind of separated in 3 areas where special projects expected to be completed in 2024 or 2025, and then regular ongoing capital reserves that you add to and have different projects used those funds for, and then other reserves such as our property tax assistance program, heating assistance, marine hazards.
Well, I had one question on map 42, lot 6. What's up with that?
Oh.
What's happening?
That's this piece across
Perhaps
the road.
The little piece over, the
Perhaps the select board chair could answer that.
little corner, little triangle over here.
Well, it's only been 10 years, but I'm still negotiating with the owner.
It was approved by the voters
Oh, I
to
know.
do this,
And
yeah.
I've come close 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
And I promised Marguerite, before I leave this earth, I'll get it done.
All right,
Excellent.
that is, just wondering.
Yeah.
So the town owns half portion of the lot, and
Yeah.
this other person owns the other half. And so Chairman Johnson has been working with the owner to acquire the remaining half and them not have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
any
So if you're
longer.
listening, call me.
Great.
All right.
Yeah, I looked this over. I guess I'm all right with all of it.
What's that? All set?
No more questions?
Yeah, you want, well, you ready for a motion to carry these over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I so move, yeah, with the change that Terry mentioned.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Letters of support for LD 602 and LD 1967.
So the first LD is 602, and we had received a request from Midcoast Council of Governments to write a letter of support for this proposed bill, an act to provide regional support to deliver state and federal programs to cities and towns in the state. We just became aware, because of Selectman Johnson's review, that Maine Municipal Association is not supporting this bill. They're actually supporting LD 1934, which has some similarities. So we would ask that you not take any action on LD 602 until we have time to further investigate this issue and perhaps write a letter of support for LD 1934.
Okay.
So that's the latest on that. LD 1967. Let's see if I can find that one. I will tell you it has to do with cable TV. Yeah, I just wanted to see
yeah.
if I could find the name of the bill here. Okay. It's LD 1967, an act to support municipal franchise agreements. It has passed the House. It was before the Senate today, and apparently they did not take any action today. They plan to take it next week. So our letter would not need to go to Representative Golek because the House has already taken action. But it should go to Senator Daughtry. You know, the industry is apparently
They have a pretty good
being
lobby.
very aggressive,
They have a very
trying
good
to
lobby,
prevent
yeah.
some of these changes from happening. I will say that the town is negotiating a new franchise agreement. We have an advisor who has been very involved in trying to get this proposed bill passed. So our advisor would really like to see the town of Harpswell go on record supporting this LD. I think there was advice that we should change the last sentence and make it more supportive of municipalities as a whole and not just kind of
Just the
focus
town
on
of Harpswell.
Harpswell.
You're
So
right, yeah.
I think I would make that change if you're agreeable to that, but,
Yeah, and take Representative Golek's name off
and
it
I
as
would
well.
take, right.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have any
that means
questions.
that we would have to sign this after you fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
I could come by tomorrow and sign
Okay.
mine if you guys could do
Well, I
that.
could probably fix it after the meeting if you want to hang
Oh,
around.
okay, sure,
or
and hang around for a bit.
tomorrow,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I move that we send this letter
Or
to
if
the.
you want just the chair to sign it, I don't know.
That'll be okay, too.
You're fine with the chair signing
Well,
it?
it might be more impactful with all three of us, but
Okay.
just the chair, I mean, whatever's easiest for you guys.
I can come in tomorrow or whatever.
All right.
Yeah. Doesn't
Right,
matter to me.
I move that we send the letter as fixed, I should say.
Revised.
Revised, yeah,
And I second the motion.
all right.
And I
All in
vote-
favor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No, that's
Gotcha.
fine. You
Sorry about
vote. So, Tony Vigu, he's with the Maine Community Media Association, he wrote that without this legislation, your municipality stands to lose the franchise fees that you now receive or could receive in the future. So he's very concerned that things are changing or potentially changing and would like to see the town support this.
Thank you.
That's the update on that one.
all right. One more item here. We have a change to the short-term housing.
Yes. I would first report that the task force met last Tuesday night, the 9th, and had a discussion and a vote about slightly expanding the mission or mandate to the task force. And I will just read it out for everyone. It's to assess the nature and perceived impact of STRs in Harpswell and consider both an education and/or regulatory policy for approval by the legislative body, which would take into account the historic nature of vacation rentals in Harpswell, as well as the current and expected future trends. The change would be to delete the word develop and add in consider both an education and/or regulatory policy. The task force has had quite a bit of discussion about educating property owners who might be STR owners, and that would go a long way to help address some of the concerns in the town that may emerge as we complete our process.
Is that a motion?
That is the motion to make
Second
those
it.
changes.
We'll be around for discussion. All in favor?
Thank you.
See here, public comment? Nope. Other business?
So
On
I
the
think
table?
we would like to ask the select board to start meeting every week to start review of the proposed 2024 budget.
So starting
So-
next week?
Yeah, so starting next week, if that
All
works.
right.
In addition to that, to schedule a workshop regarding additional potential
Right.
wage salary adjustments prior to next Thursday?
Yeah.
You want
Would
to
you
do
get-
it before, like at 5 o'clock before the meeting, at 6?
But then how do I work in all
Oh,
the changes
I
to the
don't know.
budget to
Yeah.
start reviewing, if there's changes?
Yeah.
I think it should
You
be,
want to do a separate day?
it should be a day prior to Thursday,
Okay.
just so we
Okay.
can have,
Okay.
if the board makes changes, they should be worked into the budget
Sure.
for the board's
So
review.
Wednesday, you want to do Wednesday?
Yeah, I think I have something at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Probably 1 to 2:30?
Wednesday, the 17th at 2:30?
Do 2:30?
Sure.
Calendar
I don't have to
Your
get
life
it.
is here.
3 might be safest. We do-
Want to do 3?
How about 3?
Let me check my schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
And the only other thing to mention is, we're in the process of scheduling the second public meeting on the Mitchell Field Administration Building, and I think we're looking at Monday, February 13th. We're gonna run an ad in the Anchor, and we're again going to try to have that meeting be a remote-type meeting so that people could participate.
February
The
13th.
13th is a Tuesday.
Oh, sorry, I've got the
Tuesday.
wrong day. It's the 12th.
It's the
then.
12th.
It is on a Monday.
Monday. I think it was a Monday. Yeah, Monday, the 12th. Thank you.
Okay.
Good. And I just have one thing I'd like to mention, and it is related to what Mike Drake said to us earlier in the meeting about the devastation of so much property in Harpswell, with the expectation of a second storm that will only add to that. And it's to make the suggestion that we consider a town-wide review when we're through the period of addressing it and assessing it, so that it's sort of like an after-action review, so that all the committees involved and other organizations, perhaps like the Fishermen's Association, can really come together and say, what do we know, what can we learn, and how might that influence what we, as various committees and groups, work on as we go into the future.
A debriefing, if you will.
In a collection of everyone's experience and information.
Sure.
Because I know in the Budget Committee, it's already on, the town wharf. The implications of the damage have changed the considerations that the Budget Committee had been provided in terms of repair, et cetera. That's just one small example.
The ramp on the town wharf was being moved back today closer to the road. There's a lot of thought that the end of the wharf probably go Saturday. So
Oh, really?
we'll save our ramp.
Yeah.
You'll see it's gonna move back up to the road.
Good idea.
That makes sense.
Anyway, but something to think about and for people to, to put their heads together and see if that's something we want to do. I just make that suggestion.
I like it.
Good.
Little after action. There's no other business after that, so at this point, we're adjourned.